Alexander Usyk was on the clock for the Anthony Joshua rematch early last year, but he still tried to make the undisputed fight with Tyson Fury in the small window of opportunity he had. Fury scuppered the fight by demanding an unnecessary tune-up halfway through negotiations. That's a fact. Fury scuppered the fight again in late 2022, early 2023 by repeatedly moving the goalposts, changing the terms of the deal every time Usyk agreed to anything. That's a fact. The WBA were very patient in allowing the Usyk-Fury negotiations to drag on for over 6 months, but they eventually put their foot down and insisted that Usyk fight is mandatory next. Usyk has been in negotiations for that mandatory fight since last month, and there's a purse bid coming up shortly. However, there's some speculation that Daniel Dubois may not be ready to fight, and the WBA may hand the mandatory opportunity to Deontay Wilder instead. Whatever the case may be, Usyk has to have a mandatory defense next, or he'll be stripped of his title. If he wins that fight, the Saudis are hoping to match him against Tyson Fury in December for an astronomical sum of money. Some are saying it could be as much as $100 million. In the midst of all this, Tyson Fury, who's obviously on a face-saving mission, having ducked Usyk twice already, has just come out and said that Usyk should forget about his mandatory and allow himself to get stripped of his title, forget about the big money offer from the Saudis in December, and instead fight him this summer at Wembley for a 30% split. He even had the audacity to accuse Usyk of ducking him last time when it was actually the other way round. It's all ridiculous nonsense. It's a fake call-out and a deliberately farcical offer. He has absolutely no intention of fighting Usyk this summer, obviously. He's just attempting to gaslight the public yet again by telling them that up is down and black is white. It's a very tired routine. Fury actually liberated the heavyweight division back in 2015 when he beat Klitschko. But to paraphrase Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight, you either retire as a hero or fight on long enough to see yourself become the villain. Unfortunately, the Gypsy King has done the latter. He has become the very cancer he once helped purge the division of. If he's not going to stop lying and constantly pricing himself out of fights, then boxing is actually better off without him. He's become impossible to work with and impossible for any real boxing fan to root for. He seems hell-bent on conning the fans and robbing the bank and has no interest in doing what's necessary to prove himself the true champion. What do we do with a guy like that? The WBC ain't going to help us. Maybe we should just ignore him and leave him screaming in the dark until he's forced to come to his senses. Alexander Usyk had some choice words for the Gypsy King Tyson Fury recently. He said, "I can't say anything about the fight with Tyson Fury yet. At the moment, the fight is not planned since the negotiations, let's say, are at an impasse. As far as I know, Wilder and Joshua will fight at the end of this year, but the details of the contract are being discussed within their teams, so no specific comments on that either." For Fury, boxing is not only a sport, but also a show. And there is another factor, money. He talks about them all the time and talks about these incredible amounts that he wants to receive for the fight. I believe that all his loud statements are the intensity of his passions. Without it, he would be nowhere. So what is he afraid of? He is a professional athlete, and even if he loses, he will get his money. It's no secret that purses are contractually set for both parties. If he wants to draw intrigue, it's his right, but no one will run after him or make concessions. The fight will take place sooner or later, and everything will be decided in the ring. The negotiation process proceeded as it always does. There was nothing unique. The only question mark is Tyson Fury. Holding on to the WBC belt and setting up unacceptable fight conditions in order to be rejected in advance is much more important to him than playing fair in the interests of the boxing industry and the fans who are waiting for this fight. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.